Welcome, golf fans, pursuers of knowledge and the almighty dollar. This is your golf guru bringing you the 2021 Valspar Championship. These are my value plays. We're going to look at the guys lower 7,000s to bare men, help you unlock your lineups, and this is the guys that are going to help you differentiate and gain leverage on the field. And with that said, I thank you very much for stopping by, and also for we've gotten quite a few new subscribers, so thank you for that. And let's get into this. So real quick, as I already mentioned in previous shows, I do have a PGA Championship giveaway. And simply put, this is going to be for the $3 million Millie Maker contest, a $20 entry. I am going to be picking right now 10 winners randomly to give away the free $20 entry. And then, of course, if I hit 500 subscribers, which we're getting there slowly but surely, before this all happens, I'm going to go ahead and make that 20 winners, and we'll make sure I get this out very early on so you guys can get into this contest on my dollar. All you need to do to get in this is like this video, subscribe if you've not subscribed. If you're already a subscriber, thank you, and just tell me simply who you think is going to win the PGA Championship. I've already gotten a ton of replies on this, so thank you for that. And if you're new, again, subscribe, like, and tell me who you think is going to win the PGA Championship coming up on May 20th. Okay, let's get into this. So real quickly, you've probably seen, if you've been starting to build some teams, there's been quite a few withdrawals. The most notably, of course, was Tyrrell Hatton, who came out yesterday. And what's going on is, a lot of these guys tested positive. And, I've got kind of a theory is that if you think about it, you got Tyrrell Hatton, Bryce Garnett, Straka, and Will Gordon, who were all at the Zurich Classic, and also even Cameron Champ. Now, Cameron Champ withdrew and did not mention anything about testing positive, but all the rest of these guys did. So I don't know if they were out hitting Bourbon Street or what happened. I hope no more positive tests comes up and that we don't have any more withdrawals, but it's kind of stinks because there's a couple of these guys that I was interested in playing. And so just duly noted, as you if you are made any bets already on these guys, you should get refunded. And of course, it's well documented in DraftKings when you're putting your teams together that these guys are are out. So just heads up on that. Okay, and then I need to make a correction on my preview show. I was talking about the course, and I even had the scorecard, but funny enough, I did not go and add up how they get to the 71. Typically, it's one less par 5. That is not the case here at Valspar. And again, if you keep doing this for a while and these courses and tournaments start to run together, sometimes you will make a slip up, and I did. We actually have 5 par 3s here, 4 par 5s. Now, that they really didn't change a whole lot from my modeling perspective, but with 5 par 3s at 200 plus, I did want to show you guys, who does well at those over the past few events, especially on the Bermuda, which would be a lot of the Florida swing courses. And oh, and by the way, I'd like to thank one of my subscribers actually pointed this out to me. So thank you. I believe it was Hiker Dog for bringing that to my attention. Like I said, at times, sometimes we'll miss a few things. And, as you can see here, the yardage was dead on. As I mentioned, I actually had the scorecard through Fantasy National too. Just didn't sit there and analyze exactly how they get to the par 71. Just kind of assumed. And you know what happens when you assume. Okay. So who is elite at par 3s? This I did have on Filter Bermuda because when you look at, I wanted to just look at the past 12 rounds. Again, I'm always trying to stick with recent form. What I've noticed and what you guys will probably notice is that these guys are streaky, as we all are in the game of golf. You're going to really hit kind of that, 3 rounds that you're doing really well. And then you're going to hit some rounds that you're not. And so I'm always going to try to keep looking at fresh data. And so by also doing that, it's also pulling in a lot of the Florida swing courses. Of course, you got RBC in there. You got Valero, which are Bermuda. But long story short, if you look over here to the right, you're going to see that I added in this par 3 into this model. And as I mentioned, technically it's 4 out of the 5 or 200 plus. I think the other one is around 195, if I remember correctly. But these are the guys that the top 20 that do well. And so with 5 of them, you're going to need to manage these, right? I mean, a lot can happen on these par 3s, right? You want to hopefully make a birdie here or there, but a lot of it's just getting your pars when you're talking this kind of distance. And funny enough, Bryce Garnett and Sub Straka pop up is the top 2 out of 3, which of course they are not going to be playing at the Valspar. But Camilo Villegas pops up, and again, this is looking at very recent data. You got Christoph Ventura, funny enough, who's popping up there, who played at the Zurich. Paul Casey, which that was good to see. That is a key indicator, you know, that he's done that very well here. Hence the past 2 wins. Wyndham Clark, who someone I'm kind of interested in looking at. But anyways, you'll see some of the guys that are 7,000 and below popping up here. And, you know, I also will maybe click and show you some of the rounds that are being pulled into this so you can see that. Okay, and then at the show, you know, I like you guys, I will check in on everybody else's kind of analysis and advice. I think that's a good thing to do. I'm one touch point. You know, it's not bad to look at the other guys out there. And what I just found was really interesting is some of the guys, when they do their sleeper shows, they're showing guys that are like 9,000, you know, on DraftKings and, you know, somewhere. And I'm like, really? Are those sleepers? I don't understand that. So when you're here, I'm diving into the guys that actually I feel are real sleepers or value plays. And that's guys 7,400, 7,500 and below. Also, we're looking for some lower projected ownership to differentiate. And here's one guy that I think maybe some of you guys are not as you know, familiar with. He is a European Tour player and has Sam's Horsfield. So what you're seeing there is this was at the recent Gran Canaria Lopesan Open, however you say it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys that I'm some European Tour, you know, guru by any stretch of the imagination. But of course, I keep my eye on it. And anytime I see some guys pop up that's going to be playing in our PGA events, I always sit there and want to understand, you know, who it is. Of course, you got Rasmus Højgaard also playing here, but he was at the Zurich, and I was trying to figure out why is Sam kind of popping in. He just literally was over a European tour and coming here to play this event. But anyways, what you're seeing there is his round 2 score at the recent event in Europe, the again Gran Canaria, whatever it is, and shot a 61, which is a really nice round. And also other guys there did too. But what's also interesting, of course, is Sam, why he's here, was a Florida Gator. Played 2 years at Florida. And if you see here, this was his freshman year. And so this is 2015-16. He has played this track, probably played it quite a few times, but for sure we know he's played it once. Had a T20. Again, this is so long ago. I'm not saying that this is anything what I'm going by on why I would want to play him. But I just am trying to illustrate that he is a local. Probably coming here to visit some friends, you know. I don't know the other ties of why he would make this jaunt to Florida, but I mean, this is the main reason. I know there's something else tied to it. But in short, if we look at Sam's past 5 performances on the European Tour, of course, as I just mentioned, the Gran Canaria, where he shot that 61 round 2, he had a 4th place finish, shot in the 60s all day. And like I said, it looked like a little bit that course, you know, if he's shooting 19 under, must be, you know, somewhat easier. Of course, you had Higo who won it, but also in the Australian Open, the Austrian Open, he had a 15th, T15. In the Kenya, he had a T3, and also in another Kenya event, he had a T8. And then at that DP World Tour Championship in Dubai, he had a 63rd. A little tougher track, also a little, you know, we had some of the PGA guys over there that played in that event. So I just want to bring this guy to your attention. I think at that price and that projected ownership, I don't have a lot of stroking analysis. We are going to go jump into that as we speak because he hasn't played here a ton. But yeah, it's someone that I'm going to be trying to pivot to. I think at that price, he's definitely got some talent. Looks like he is on a good streak. If we just look at his last 4 events, when you, no matter if it's European Tour or not, when you're top 10 and, you know, top 5, and the worst is a T15 over the last 4 events, he's someone that, you know, I'm interested. He also is local and has played this course before. Everything adds up to me to say, hey, I'm going to give this guy a shot and see how it all cooks out. Like I said, I knew of him beforehand. It's a good player over on the European Tour, but we just don't see a lot of them here. So with that said, let's go jump into some analysis, and then after that, I'll kind of summarize who I like from my value plays and also from a fade play. All right. Okay. So I am in Fantasy National Golf. I highly recommend it. It's where I do a lot of my research. And we are looking under the DraftKings kind of pricing. And what we're looking at here is I've got up last 12 rounds. I've got a couple filters on Bermuda and also difficult to hit fairways. And then it gives me a list of courses that are comparable when I'm looking at these guys' information. And actually, I just want to click on that. And what you're seeing here is the first guy we're going to talk about is Sam's Horsfield, of course, who we were just looking at. And I've got my 3 areas that I'm focused on for this event. Ball striking over the last 12 rounds. These key stroking category areas: approach, around the green, good drives. Again, good drives represents guys that are coming and hitting a fairway, maybe the fringe, but also reach the green on approach. So that's what kind of good drives takes into effect. It's nothing about really worrying about gaining off the tee from a distance perspective. Of course, we need good putters. And then there's that 175, 200, a lot of approach shots are going to be coming in there. And then over here, we can look at recent results and tournament history, which he's actually never played in the Valspar PGA event. If I go click on Sam, we can just quickly look at some of his information. As I mentioned, it's pretty minimal that he's played over on the PGA in the U.S., but over that little bit of time, you can see POA, he's done, in the few events, done well on Bermuda, maybe not as much. And if I scroll down, the last time we saw him over here, which is interesting, was 2019 at the U.S. Open. But the two that I was, that kind of piqued my interest was this Arnold Palmer. Both the times he played there again, Florida Gator, has done and handled himself pretty well on that course, which I think is a good comp course, Bay Hill, for the event that we're looking at. So, but if you see, there's not a lot to look at here. I mean, going back, this was as an amateur. He's only played in a couple, I don't know, a handful of events. But the two that I care about that were somewhat recent, 2018, 2019, is Arnold Palmer. So with all that said, with his recent form, being a local guy, played the course before, and long story short, I will be playing Sam in my lineups. I have not bet on him yet. I'm not even sure what his odds are, but could be something interesting there. Now, Doug Gim I was looking at, and I was kind of back and forth, but I'm going to let you guys right know. Usually I don't go into the analysis on my fades. I mentioned high level why I'm going to fade someone. But Doug Gim I am going to fade here. And like I said, I was back and forth. So you have all the rights and reasoning that you'd want to play him. If you look at, over his last 12 rounds, his ball striking has been there. Approaching around the green, not the greatest in this field over, again, the last 12 rounds, but good on drives. The putter is what really has kind of pushed me a little bit against playing Doug Gim, but not too bad from the proximity that we were hoping to look at. And if you look at his recent results, I mean, pretty good showing at RBC and Valero, but this miscut at the Honda, again, back to Bay Hill, that makes me a little nervous. But hey, he was in contention for a while at the Players, but then blew up on Sunday. And that's what's kind of interesting with Doug Gim. And this is going off memory, we could go look. But what I remember, I think, is that the API and the Players, he had like a 78 and an 81 coming down the final day. So he just blew up on Sundays. But at the RBC and the Valero, I think he shot at RBC like a 66 and maybe a 69. So what I was seeing with Doug Gim, he had this thing where, we'd kind of see him, he'd be in somewhat contention and then just blow up on Sundays. But it seems like he's kind of getting over that. So hence, like I said, why I was kind of back and forth on why, playing. But the putting is what's making me a little nervous on the Bermuda. Of course, he played at the Zurich recently. Pretty good showing for him and Sue as a team event. So I had no problems there. But this was the two things that I noticed. He missed a cut at the Honda and he missed a cut at the Genesis. And so, of course, I'm not considering the Genesis a great comparable course, but it is a very difficult track, as so is Valspar. And, so those two things kind of weighed. But, you can kind of sit there and go, well, the Players, is also a difficult course, but shorter. And he did make the cut, also at the Arnold Palmer, and I kind of mentioned he had that blow up on Sunday. But you can just see the putter is what's kind of holding him back. From a stroke perspective, which we need a good tee to green guy, he's kind of ticking those boxes. So at this price tag, what finally I came down to was he's almost at 13% ownership, is going to be chalky. I got Sam Horsfield, who's at 3%, couple grand less, or I'm sorry, a couple $100 less. And I think I'm gonna for a GPP perspective, this is not for cash, but for a GPP perspective, I'm gonna go with Sam Horsfield and just see, what happens. And that's where I'm at. I'm just letting you guys know. So Doug Gim is going to be a fade for me, and I'm going to be going with Sam Horsfield instead. Okay, and actually, I apologize. Sam Horsfield is actually $100 more. I thought Doug was a little more expensive. Okay, let's now. All the rest of these are guys that I'm looking at as possible value plays, and I'm going to pick 5 of these guys as my favorite 5 at the end. but I want to show you all the guys that have possibilities of doing something down here. Of course, you got Neesmith, and I've said this 1,000 times, so I apologize. He's the model always loves Neesmith, but I mean, he is, from a tee to green has been pretty elite. Usually, it's been the putter that's kind of held him back. That actually has gotten pretty better. So you can see by his finishes, pretty solid finishes over his last 3 events. He has no tournament history here. His projected ownership's around 8%. And if we go jump in on Neesmith, just to go look at the putting more than anything, as I kind of mentioned, he only when he gains on his bent. And just to get more specific, you can see over his last 44 events, the one thing that he'll typically struggle with is the putter. But, these greens, I wouldn't put them as super challenging. There are some large greens. There is some slope. But overall, I mean, we're not talking Augusta here. So, I think he can manage it, I guess is the best way to put it. And also, if he could just almost break even with the putter, he could be pretty effective. So I do like Neesmith as someone that you could look at. Of course, you've got him doing well. Again, this is looking over the last 12 rounds, playing in these kind of conditions. So, it might skip one event that wasn't Bermuda. But if you look at recent results, you got a little bit of mix, but made cuts. The one that he fell apart was the Waste Management. And he has played this track a few times and has some decent, success here. 2 cuts, but also a T9, a T22, T33. It's taking my boxes here again. Some putter issues on Jahan, but, projected ownership less than 7%, 7,000. A guy you could definitely plug in and feel pretty good he's going to get you to the weekend. Luke List, who has been struggling a little bit, as you can see here, cut, withdraw, especially at Corrales. I don't know what happened there, but it was nice to see the Valero. He kind of popped up. The RBC, tough track is, of course, as you guys already, if you watched my previous shows, that I am still considering a good course to look at as a comparable. But, tee to green, elite, same thing. It is typically what you're going to see with these guys when you get down here is they're going to have one main glaring issue. And the issue that I'm willing to stomach at this event is the putter. Just like, Corey Connors. If you look at a Luke List, they had some really strong showings at majors. Luke has actually never won on tour. So there's a play. Maybe here he could get his first victory. That'd be huge, right? I mean, if he won at Valspar, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but I like Luke List from, multiple perspectives. We kind of go jump into him. Like I said, the putter, never that great. But, on difficult courses, he's actually shot, pretty well against a field. Of course, if it does blow, he can handle himself there. I will go into weather, and I did not even prepare, but I will do some weather stuff, and I know you guys love when I do my weather reports. But anyways, get back, the RBC tee to green did great. Just the putter just killed him, which typically, as I mentioned, will. Had a pretty good showing on the West Coast. Of course, you got, TPC Scottsdale, which I was looking at as a comp course. He actually, funny enough, gained with the putter there a little bit, which is odd. Struggled with approach. Let's see anything else pops up. We could just go real quickly run through this. So let's look at the Arnold Palmer. He's made the cut every time, 4 times. Best finish was a 7th a little while back, but he had a 10th in 2019. The recent one is not as good, but again, made the cut. We look at RBC Heritage at Harbor Town. Amazing enough, 2008 he had a 3rd. And some people might think, that course. And that course at that time was playing tougher. They didn't lose the trees and whatnot at that time. So pretty good showing at the RBC. The Honda, he's had some either really good showings or, he's had 3 missed cuts in a row. So that makes you a little nervous, but it was all the putter. Wasn't actually getting around that course. Look at the Players. Only made a cut there once, but missed it the other 3 times, and that's never a shocker. That seems like one of those courses that you just one time pop up and do well, and then maybe never do well again. Another comp course that I liked was, of course, St. Jude. And he's had good success there all 4 years, or at least where the WGC St. Jude is played, which is TPC, I think it's Summerlin. Don't quote me on that. I'm kind of blanking. Of course, Waste Management, TPC Scottsdale. Has had a couple good showings there recently. I don't know. He's never played East Lake the Tour Championship. But anyways, I'm going to jump back on a Luke List train and hope, his irons a long approach. I think my favorite, just kind of give away my favorite value play, is Tom Hoge. He is going to make my top 5, of course, with that said. And you can see, I mean, a guy from the last 12 rounds is just striking the ball, excellent. And he's hitting all of my areas here that I, really want to see. I mean, again, his putter would be probably, the one thing that could hold him back. But at this price tag, of course, some other people are seeing this projected ownership, but this is some chalk. I mean, at less than 10%, I'm not too worried about eating. He also helped me out at the RBC, where he had a, a T25. Would have loved if he could have, got that above a little bit more, but still had a good showing. Did well at the Valero, a T22 at the Players. His history here, though, is not the greatest. So that's maybe what's kept a few people off. But also, like I said, I think he's in, really good form. Here we go, click on Mr. Hoge. Let's go look at his putting splits. So out of all of them, Bermuda very slightly is the best putting surface for him. Let's see. At RBC, he actually gained a little bit, lost a little bit, but at least the good news, I mean, you don't see those crazy swings with the putter, as in gain 5 to 7 strokes, lose 5 or 7. I mean, here you could say, I guess he lost 4 strokes at Arnold Palmer, but actually did well, tee to green. And then you can look on POA, AT&T Pro-Am, he actually did well on there. So I don't think that's actually what I think it just said Weller. Actually did better. Anyways, so yeah, I like Tom Hoge. He is my favorite value play down here. Tom Lewis, of course, played with Peters at the Zurich. They did all right as a team event. I was actually looking for those guys to do a little better. But you can see over the last, few rounds or 12 rounds, last few events, hitting the ball well again. Really good on approach. Around the green game, a little suspicious. Everything else is okay. You see it in yellow. Good recent results. It's only played here once, but it's way back in 2012. Did not make the cut. Let's just go look a little more information on Tom. So you can see the putter could be the issue. Play a little bit and win, which is not a shocker. Of course, he's European. And if we just go look into some of what he did well, again, not too bad. Tee to green did, okay around the green at the Valero. Had one positive day of putting on Bermuda, and then one not so much. Just seeing what else. If we just look at. Also, this was interesting. This is, of course, I just want to make sure it's TPC Southwind. Okay, my bad. I think I said Summerlin. TPC Southwind. But again, pretty decent comp course. Had a second place there. One of his best, probably his best PGA showing ever. Yeah. So that's, it was one of the comp courses that I like. So that's another reason why I think Tom is very credible to play. Also, looking at Ryan Moore. Not one of my favorite plays here. You can see in a day, Ryan Moore, of course, did very well here in the past. Recent has some issues, but a guy that I think you could play now. Of course, I think it was, I don't know, about a year ago or a half year ago that he had the back issues. But seems like he's in, feeling better. You can see he kind of ticks the boxes that we want. More of a kind of a plotter. Had one issue here. That's probably at the Honda where you can see he was losing strokes, but everything else over the last few events was, gaining on the ball striking. But someone that you could look at. I'm not going to do a whole lot more on more. Adam Schenk, I think he, just looking at his tournament, played here twice, made the cut once. Pretty decent recent form out of the last 5 events. A T25, a T36, couple cuts. Again, another guy that's, striking the ball well. Let's just go jump on Adam just for. So you can see, I mean, again, you got to watch these bars, what the number actually is. So like a quarter, best case, almost a quarter stroke when he's on Bermuda against the field. Let's see what else he's been up to. We just kind of dive a little more into details. So gain putting, one of the first times actually over quite a few events. So his last time, funny enough, was POA. The RBC is Bermuda. And just seeing, yeah. We can just look, just for curiosity, Arnold Palmer played it once. The API Bay Hill, he had a 29th. RBC, 25th. So, if you kind of look at that in recent form, pretty good. He's played well at the Honda, at PGA National. The players, miscut recently. WGC never played. What do you do at the Waste Management? Missed a cut recently, and I'm pretty sure he's never made Tour Championship. Okay, there's Adam Schenk. Occasionally, he's actually another one of my. I like the guy. I don't think he was actually one of my final 5 cuts, but everything's been looking pretty solid from a ball striking perspective. You can see, almost 14 strokes. Does everything well. Good drives, can be a little suspicious, at least over last, and of course the putter. But recent results, not bad. Miscut at the Honda and API, so there's some Florida, negatives. But other than that, pretty well. Played here once, withdrew. I actually looked into this. I have no idea why he withdrew. We're going to go ahead. Maybe he shot at 85 the first day. I have no idea. I didn't go into that. You know what? Let's go see if we can see. Okay, so went to past results, just trying to figure out why he withdrew. So he shot a 79 the first day, which you're probably kind of out of it. And then you can see, funny enough, he was somewhere in his round. I don't know, maybe 9 holes, 10 holes, depending on how he was playing. And then it must have been an injury. So I was just curious why he withdrew. And that's that. So we know now that, when I was always curious, the withdrawal, was it that you shot like a 90 or an 85 and you're like, I'm out of here? Or was it actually physical? It looks like he was going to stick it out and try to play, but someone got hurt. Okay. Anyways, back to Cage Flea. We jump on him, and, putter could be an issue, but in difficult rounds, a little bit positive. We just go look over to recent. As it already showed, the putter's been the issue. When's the last time Cage Flea's actually done something decent? So at the Waste Management, of course, he popped up. A good comp course, was positive. If he could do this, even close to this, he could be very relative here. That's POA. I don't know what the Sony's Bermuda. Just trying to see what he had from a positive putting experience when he was on Bermuda. Oh, that's interesting. The Northern Trust. 5.6. Let's play it with TPC of Boston. I am not sure what their greens are there off the top of my head. It doesn't matter. Okay. Anyway, occasionally could be someone that you'd want to consider. Ownership pretty low, 6,800. Camilo, of course, if you guys been with me for a while, I've been touting him. He's got some really positive. You saw on the long par 3s, he's done very well. Guy's pretty accurate off the tee. Can get super hot on approach. The putter is typically what's going to, kill him. But funny enough, over the last 12 rounds, it's showing here that he's ranked number 2 from a putting perspective on Bermuda. I do want to go jump into that to verify that information. But you can see he had a T8 at Honda, T17. I guess he's got to still be playing on injured status. I know that he had to, I think the last time had to have a third place something, but somehow he's still in there. So that either he's got more status or he qualified enough to keep playing in these events. So good for him. He's played this track before. He did make the cut once back in 2016, but you can see some struggles at that side. Let's go look at Camilo. So you can see he is gaining on Bermuda. Let's go to look. So yeah, that's actually pretty interesting. So he actually gained 7 strokes with a putter at the RBC. Struggled a bit around off the tee too, but really made up with a putter. That's pretty rare. As you'll see here, he's had some interesting putting issues, but as of recently, he is gaining. The Honda's also Bermuda. So, I think he is going to be one of my top plays, value plays. I like Camilo. Only 2% owned, 6,700 could be sneaky. Could be, maybe not even a bad bet for like a, top 20, top 10. I don't think he could win this event, but I think he can be relative. Scott Stallings popped up, again, just showed. I think he's actually had some decent past history here. Yeah. So he had a T9, T31, so made the cut, last few years. Recent form is a little suspicious. Of course, he played at the Zurich, and I think that was him and Garnett. Did not make the cut there. Not that, I wouldn't hold that any, so much weight you can put in that, but just thought I'd show you Scott Stallings. Has had, hits a couple of my boxes around the green, and the putter is definitely an issue. But, approach, good drives. He's going to get there most of the time. It just looks like if he doesn't get on the green, could be a problem. Of course, Chase Seifert, I would call this kind of the condom play. He's someone that, as you see, making cuts, popped up at the Honda big time. He's ticking all my boxes. It's all going to come down to the putter. But you can see projected ownership, so he's a bit chalky at 10%. But at that price, $6,600, when you're down there, that's what you're looking for, right? Is guys are going to get you to the weekend, let you pick that, stellar 5 or 4 or 5 guys you want. Can play in difficult rounds, so should be okay at the Valspar. Can play in some when he's shown. Bermuda is positive. Poa is his favorite over his history. As you can see, the putter, been pretty solid. It's around the green, I guess. But this is, when you see this much green in that over his 40 events, he's a solid player. So, we got to kind of, I'm going to stick with it. For that, if his price tag still stays below 7,000, we got to ride the value that we can. You can see, at the Honda, just firing with the irons. Just trying to see anything else that pops up that might be interesting. Let's just go take a look at some of it while we're here. So, funny enough, he has not played the API. We already kind of saw RBC at a 42nd recently. The Honda, he had that 3rd and then a miscut prior to that. WGC St. Jude, never played. What about the players? He didn't qualify for that. Waste management? Nope. Okay. Just trying to see if there was anything else we could kind of look from a comparable course side. But yeah, Chase Seifert, I think, is a very good play. And then my last would be Roger Sloan, who, I've not really been on a whole lot. But again, I'm looking at these guys as more to get you to the weekend, let you open up some room up top if you want to get a couple of those, a couple 10,000s or, 3 9,000s, whatever you're trying to figure out. But you can see, ball striking has been great. It's done well on all the areas except maybe, the long approaches. But you can see here, Corrales, much easier. But the Honda, tough. And the Puerto Rico, not as hard. But, some 20s, you had to cut it, Valero, cut it to pro. Played here once, the last time it was played here, and had a T60. So, everything on Sloaney, another Canadian I like. Just trying to see if we jump in his splits, showing here bent, if anything. Playing maybe a hair of wind. So around the green is where his issues have been. Gain with the putter at the Honda on Bermuda. The RSM, I'm pretty sure that's Bermuda. Seaside, yeah. I was just curious. So the RSM, he gained. Sanderson Farms, I believe that is bent. Let's pull it up real quick. Nope, it's Bermuda. That's right. CCA Jackson was another course. So that's good. Yeah. I mean, I like Roger Sloan. So he's another guy that I'm going to be playing. Okay. I think that's it. Let's go jump in. I'm going to wrap this up. Okay. So my top 5 value plays for the Valspar is going to be Camilo Villegas. Just keep it in the fairway. Do what you do on approach. Get some chips if you have to, scramble a little better than usual. But if that putter can even stay close to where it was at recently, he could definitely have, I don't know, top 30 finish, something like that. Luke List, elite ball striker, has been around, played some tough tracks, played well in some major events, still looking for his first PGA event win. This could possibly be it, but anyways, I like Luke here. I already mentioned Roger Sloan, has played here once, made the cut recently. Guy's been hitting the ball well. It's got some, decent finishes. So some of that, again, down at 6,500 pricing and low ownership, someone that you can plug in. Tom Hoagie, probably my favorite value play. I think he's playing great golf right now. Someone I'm going to stick with riding. And again, Chase Seifert, call that my condom play. But again, I mean, the guy's been solid. So if they're going to keep him priced at, mid 6s around there, I think, there's no way you can't play the guy to unlock some other potential value up top. And then for my top fades, I am going to be fading DJ. Again, he had a good Sunday. So he had 2 good rounds at RBC. I think he shot a 66 on Sunday. that was like the real first, I think, my own personal opinion, show of life since the win at the Masters. So, he's had some decent track record here. But again, there's two guys up there, JT or DJ. I'm going to be more in the JT camp if I'm going to play one of those guys. I'm actually on most of my GPPs fading them both, just to unlock the areas. And I just think, you know, from what these guys could do, you think, especially with DJ, some of his length is going to be taken away here, a lot like RBC. So I just don't see the need in paying up for him when there's some of the guys a little bit lower that I think maybe fit this course a little better. Scotty Scheffler, just recently some things have kind of popped up that I've seen that I'm not super excited with. Um, Also, just some of the comp courses are rated out for him, just not the greatest. So I'm going to be fading Scotty. And then Bubba, again, for I think he's like 8,900. There's just other guys I want to play other than Bubba. He looked at times pretty good at the Zurich, at times not so good. But yeah, I'm off on Bubba for this week. And then Chez Reavie, I bring him up just because he did pop up in some of the models. Funny enough, he's has some past success history in his day, and I'm talking again, within the last couple of years, would be a good fit, I think, for this course. But I just think where his game's at right now, I think he's got 3 recent miscuts. I'm kind of off on Chez Reavie. And then I already mentioned Doug Gim. I think you can make a case for this either way. I would never say, hey, why are you ever playing Doug Gim? But at that price tag, I'm going to kind of take a shot with Sam Horsfield, just to get a little differentiation in my lineups. And again, most of this conversation, everything I'm talking about is, again, from a GPP perspective. Okay, so I almost forgot, as usual, ownership projections, one of the reasons why you guys are here. And so looking at Fantasy National, this is your projected ownerships. This is being recorded about 1:30 Eastern time on Wednesday. So, pretty close to what they should come in at. And what you want to look at is over here to the right. And the number one chalkiest player right now is Jason Kokrak, which, great recent form, definitely on the Florida swing, and also has had good track record here, so no shocker. And Corey Connors almost at 21%. That's your 2 highest, chalkiest players. Amazing enough, you can see DJ's less than 9%. So out of the 11,000 guys, it's looking like JT, which I can understand that, is almost at 15%. You got Reed at a little over 16. Then you got this middle group here, which, again, all makes sense. Answer, M, Neiman, Henley, all coming in. So I guess if you did want to pivot, as I already mentioned, I'm fading Bubba Watson, which I did not look at this, but he's actually less than 5% owned. So if you want to get unique, you got the Watson Rose kind of build there. Just see if anything else stands out from an ownership perspective. You got Lucas Glover coming at 14. That's kind of interesting. I mean, there's a guy that, I'm playing him too. I don't think he was one of my picks, if I remember correctly, but I didn't put him in a GPP lineups. And, if you wanted to get a little different, you could fade off him. And, because he could bust. I mean, that guy, has been playing solid, but definitely could be a bust, and that would help you out to gain some leverage. And again, in a large GPP, if I had to tell you who I would probably pivot to, maybe a Sam Burns is someone that I like. Even Brandon Grace popped up in some of the areas that was interesting. Of course, Hadwin's won here before. So something like that you could look to pivot off of. You got Lanto coming in, 7,400. Also heard, I think, on FanDuel. I haven't checked it yet, and I don't play a lot of FanDuel. That I think he's at min price for some odd reason, Lanto Griffin, which that's going to make him, I would guess, crazy super chalky. But just a side note, I heard that on, I think it was on Awesemo. Those guys mentioned that. Of course, Doug Gim now is almost at 16% ownership. So calculated 12.9. But just this, again, is kind of taking what guys have put in for lineups. Anybody else that's really high down here? Neesmith, we kind of already talked about him. Jahan. My man Hoagie coming in at 10.5. So some guys are seeing exactly what I'm seeing, at least from a model perspective, and also what we've seen recently. Then the condom play, as I mentioned, at 11% is Chase Seifert. But I can understand that chalk, again, I think for that price. How could he not be chalky from what his recent form and even his course fit here should be good. I think that's it. that's about all I wanted to show you guys. An ownership projection. Wanted to make sure I got that in there. Not gonna lie, I forgot about it, and then had to record this just to add it in for you guys. So you got it. Again, best of luck to you guys. Talk to you. Okay, so jumped into Windfinder real quick for you guys. I'm pulling from St. Petersburg, Clearwater, Florida. It's real close to where the Valspar is being played at Palm Harbor. And if we take a real quick look, I'm just looking at this in real time with you guys. It's about 12:45 Eastern on Wednesday. And, you know, nothing sticks out on Thursday to me. It looks good, you know, a hair or win, but nothing at all that I would look to change any of my lineups or anything like that. If we go down to Friday, again, thumbs up, everything looks good there. Saturday, everything looks good there. And last but not least, Sunday now, maybe, you know, maybe when you're doing your finale showdown rounds, it looks like the win could kick up to 18. So, you know, maybe you try to pick some guys that are teeing off a little later. That would be it. But all in all, from a weather perspective, nothing to really talk about. Looks all good from here. But of course, you know, I show this more of when for people that maybe don't check the weather. If you are playing showdown, it is pretty key. Go to Windfinder. This is the area that I'm plugging in. It's the closest spot, St. Petersburg, Clearwater. And just keep an eye on it when you're putting your showdown lineups together. And that's it. All right. Okay. So to wrap this up, again, all the best of you. If you've not liked or subscribed yet, please do so. It would mean the world to me. I appreciate all the guys. Don't forget also to let me know who you think is going to win the PGA Championship so I can get you guys into the giveaway. And all the best this weekend. I feel pretty good about the picks in the tournament. I hope we have lots of success. And again, as always, if I can help you with anything or any questions or anything you want to mention, hit me up on YouTube comments or feel free to follow me on Twitter at DFS Golf Guru, and I'll give you whatever advice I can. All right. Best of luck. Take care, guys. Talk to you next week.